back at it again, and we have an interesting conversation here. All right, between Killer Mike and Colion Noir. Is that how you pronounce his name? Hopefully I didn't butcher that too badly. But anyway, let's dive in.
With everything that's happened, like with the Parkland shooting.
Yeah. Very tragic.
Very. And what's odd to me, I know why it's being done. You know, it's systematic.
Yeah.
But this idea that because I'm a gun owner or I'm hardcore about the Second Amendment or, you know, from that perspective, it's like, that doesn't mean that I lack the empathy or the ability to sympathize
Not
with
at
what
all.
happened.
That's not at
If anything, it's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
It's like, we disagree about how we both want to save these kids' lives.
Yeah.
Period. But somehow, because
Absolutely.
my method doesn't agree with your method,
Yeah.
I'm a monster.
Yeah.
Or something wrong
And that's
with
unfair.
it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely right on that. When you say, no, I'm for the Second Amendment, it says shall not be infringed, people point at you and make it seem as if you're this horrible, terrible, no good, very bad person and you don't care and yada, yada, yada. You know, the same old tactics they've always used with different things, you know, in terms of calling people the R word or a phobe and things of that nature. So it's nothing new, but it is unfortunate because it's a lie. It's a flat out lie. We simply don't agree on how to get the job done. That is it.
I have worked as a tireless advocate on the behalf of children, disenfranchised women in my community.
Yeah.
And I've also worked with gun groups like Georgians Against Gun Violence that are not, you know, the most pro Second Amendment.
Yeah.
But I say if there's a table to be sat at, the gun owner needs to be there. So I kind of try to see a problem from the whole perspective. And there have been things that you've disagreed with me. There's been that I disagree with you. As friends, we've talked, right? But there was something dead on that the woman who's an NRA spokesman said, and everyone
Dana.
just kind of lost it. What's her name?
Dana.
Dana says something. I don't agree with everything Dana says, but Dana says that the tears of white mothers are like ratings, and that's so true. And it was so sad
ratings?
to hear her acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But it's true, and black people know it's true because black people say it in conversations in coffee houses to themselves.
There's a lot of people who think they woke out here will realize very quickly they ain't so woke.
You not woke. You not woke. Wakanda, everybody had guns and spears and everything else you needed. Yeah, like you can't continue to be the lackey.
Yeah.
Like people are accusing you of being a lackey of the NRA. Well, you're a lackey of the progressive movement because you have never disagreed with the people who tell you what to do.
A bunch of mindless zombies. If the mob is yelling, get rid of Second Amendment, they're just going to follow. They lack or don't have the ability to think for themselves anymore. It's crazy to watch. It is crazy. And then they they have the nerve to accuse people who are on the other side. I say other side in air quotations because we're all on the same team, but you get what I mean. Of doing exactly what they're doing. No, not at all. Perfect example. When people were asked why they voted for Joe Biden, nobody had an answer. One person had an answer. Oh, because he's not Republican. Which isn't obviously that great of an answer in the first place, but you just followed the mob. You don't even know why you're doing these certain things, except for people told you to.
Like, think about that. You have never disagreed with, you've never said to them, hey, hold up. Hold on. A football player just got shot by an armed white man for a traffic argument. A black teenager got shot by an armed white man in a gas station because he had played his music loud. Where were you then?
Yeah.
Or where were you when these Chicago situations go down, like every other weekend? Where are you?
Where? Like when you went, like start call, like you got to do like a girlfriend when you list all the stuff you've done for the boyfriend. And if you're not in a reciprocal relationship, why are you in this relationship? Because the same people I see dogging you out will be the same people I see posting a month from now says, why weren't you at our Black Women's March?
You know, when you have something for so long, especially when we talk about the generations that have come into, even me, right? Some things with respect to my freedom, I didn't always feel this way.
Yeah.
There were things that I learned about and come upon them as time went on. But we get to a point where we're like, oh, why do we need this? We don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
We're so progressive. We progress past this point.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're gonna progress us right off a cliff.
Yeah.
You keep going in this
You're
direction.
gonna progress us into slavery.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, people say, oh, slavery can't exist. Slavery does exist now. Slavery exists according to the 13th Amendment.
But never.
Well,
Abolish it.
The same people who are telling you we need to abolish the Second Amendment, they ain't there for the documentary 13.
Yeah.
They're not there at your march to end that. You know, that begins to be my question. Like,
But also, not only that, but slavery truly exists in Africa. That is a fact. You guys, I remember you guys telling me about that when we were checking out some Thomas Sowell videos, and I went and looked into it myself, and yes, there are videos of it. These people, some of these folks are just so clueless. They have no idea the horrific things that go on in this world because they live in their own little box. They don't see anything else except for what goes on in their own little box. They don't see the downturns countries have taken because of the route that we are in right now. They don't see that. And they think that they're so woke. And like Killer Mike just said, you're not woke at all. Not even in the slightest bit. You're asleep at the wheel. Mindless zombie trying to drive the car. And we're all going to crash and burn with you if we allow you to keep holding on to the wheel.
what is it who are telling you we need to abolish the Second Amendment? They ain't there for the documentary 13.
Yeah.
They're not there at your march to end that. You know, that begins to be my question. Like, what is an ally? Because an ally is not necessarily a friend.
Yeah.
Right? It's not necessarily, it's not fam. We have a mutual interest in something that progresses us both.
Yep.
Why are your allies not fighting your other fights with the same vigor you're fighting these? Like I told my kids on the school walkout, I love you. If you walk out that school, walk out my house.
I'm laughing, but it's so serious.
That's simple. We are a gun-owning family.
Yeah.
We are a family where my sister farms. We're a family where we'll fish, we'll hunt, but we are not a family that jumps on every single thing an ally of ours does because some stuff we just don't agree with.
Here we are. We have a march that's going on next week, and our biggest celebrities are donating millions to a march.
Yeah.
While our inner city schools over here are in deplorable conditions. We're donating $3 million to a march about gun control.
Yeah.
But yet we have communities over here that are in economic downturn. Like it's ridiculous to me.
Yeah. Celebrities often don't know what to do. They're told what to do. I had a celebrity very famous, like sold well over 20, 30 million records, called me and said, "Hey, Mike, what you doing right now?" I said, "I ain't doing nothing." He said, "Could I call you?" I was like, "What's up?" He called me. He was at a radio station. They were pressuring him to do a anti-gun thing. And I could tell he wasn't comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And he said, "Would you mind explaining them and why you?" And I said, very simply. I said, I'm African-American, 54 years out of apartheid. I'm very pro-Second Amendment. This is why. And before you say, well, what about the children? My daughter goes to Savannah State University. There was also a shooting on that campus. Talked to my wife and daughter after that. The decision was, we're going to go to Savannah. She's going to get a gun and train more. And after that, they say, Mike, we never heard that perspective.
You are always going to have horrible, terrible, no good, very bad people in society. They have always been there. Always. As a matter of fact, I would argue there's been worse people in our society in history. Some of these serial killers in our past that have just been able to drop body after body after body after body without people knowing. And by the time we do find out, 20, 30 people gone. So I would argue in the past it's been worse. Now, obviously, with the advent of social media, cameras, all that good stuff, we see it all. It's right in our face. And I think that's part of the problem, too, because we post everything. Whereas if we would have done that in the past, if there would have been cameras everywhere. But I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comment section. But more importantly than all of that, the best offense is great defense. Right? And what I mean by that is, for example, with the recent situation that went down at the mall, where 3 people were unfortunately taken away from us, but within, I think it was like 15 seconds, the man himself got dropped by somebody who was legally carrying.
And after that, they say, Mike, we never heard that perspective. We surely respect and understand it. And they start pressuring him to do something he didn't want to do. And that ain't just guns. When, as a celebrity, they ask me, hey, will you do this anti-bullying drop for radio? Absolutely not. Why? Because your child needs to get punched in the face so he can learn to punch someone back. And that isn't saying that it's right to be punched in the face. That's saying as sure as you're an adult, something or someone's going to punch you in your face. And you have to develop the aptitude and the fortitude to fight back. And that's just not in the physical.
Yeah.
You know, we are raising a generation of kids where everyone gets a trophy. But in real life, everyone don't get a trophy.
No.
You know, in real life, the cops don't come on time. You know,
Hold on. Before you go too deep with it, that's something that I definitely do want to touch on. It's something that I touched on before previously. Sometimes you gonna get punched in the face, and if you haven't learned what to do in those situations and circumstances, you're gonna fold. I'm not saying that, you know, everybody should be violent or we should support bullying or anything like that, but you do have to learn how to respond to that type of situation. Otherwise, you're just gonna get beat up. Your parents ain't gonna be there to save you all the time. Who's gonna be there to save you? Sometimes it's just gonna be you. And if you don't know how to respond to it, then hey, you're as good as beat up. But also, the other thing that he touched on there was we live in a generation where everybody gets a trophy. Everybody. And that is so crazy to me because I remember being young and having this fire to win. I didn't want second place, third place. I wanted to win. I wasn't raised to accept participation trophies. I don't want no sympathy. I lost. Let me lose. I lost. I'm angry. Don't give me no sympathy. Like, first place is first place. Anything after that, it don't matter. But we now have raised kids to be happy for just participating. What happened to competing? No, is there something wrong with competing and wanting to be the best? Because last time I checked, that was a beautiful thing. Why are we doing this to kids? And I feel like that breeds a type of softness where they can't handle things, right? But y'all let me know in the comment section. We ain't accepting no participation trophies around here, okay?
You know, in real life, depending on where you live, you're not going to have the time to try to logic your way out of something.
100% facts. One of the realest conversations we've checked out on this channel thus far. I mean, just an absolutely incredible conversation. I mean, 100% agreed with everything. Can we have a conversation with the other side? Yeah, sure, and we should. Because we should be bouncing ideas back and forth. That's what life should be. Everything around us is a product of disagreement, and yet we let disagreement separate us so far now. The cars we drive, the houses we live in, the phones we have, the computers we have, the toothbrushes we use, the drinks we drink, and so forth and so forth. It's all a product of disagreement, because if we agreed on it all, it would all be exactly the same. Shout out to Killer Mike and Colion. Amazing conversation, and I loved where Killer Mike took the conversation at the end, you know, in terms of where he was talking about the participation trophies, people, you know, police not arriving on time. And it has nothing to do with cops being terrible. That's just realistic. That's just being real. Burglars aren't going to sit and wait for the cops to arrive. They're going to break in, do whatever it is that they want to do, and be out as quickly as possible. So that whole argument of just call the police, it's terrible. Yeah. I don't even need to explain that any further. But also what he was talking about in terms of just developing some thick skin. We got so many marshmallows that live amongst us. And when I say marshmallows, I mean just people that are soft. Just so soft. I mean, you criticize them in any way, shape, or form, and it's like they run and hide and cry the day away. I feel like we have started to raise kids to be super soft and give them participation trophies in every single thing that they do. Oh, yeah, you don't have to win. You don't have to try hard or compete or anything. You'll just get a trophy anyway. It doesn't matter. I don't know. That's just weird to me. But as always, hey, I could be wrong. Y'all let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. And if you would like to support the channel, my PayPal link is in the description box below. Peace and love. I'm out.